Hello, welcome to the weather update. It is 9:30 on March 24th, 2023, and had some clouds around, and then we had some sun in the afternoon. You can see we're on the northern fringe of this stalled frontal boundary that's sitting off to our south. And if we just showing you what the afternoon was like, 'cause you actually get some sun. We had some of these interesting clouds in the sky, some altocumulus, and a little virga from the altocumulus, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, that's what this is right here. Like virga from the altocumulus. Here's this Southard's Pond in Babylon. Getting some nice fresh air down there. It was nice. And you can see here just interesting. I can show you the sky here. It's kind of interesting. Again, you had the mid-level and some high-level in there, and some virga coming down from the mid-level clouds, which is kind of interesting. So let's take a look and see what we got going on right now. Looking at the weather map, first of all, you can see this mess. This is what's going to bring our rainy day tomorrow. There's severe weather in the south as a result of this. You see there's your stalled frontal boundary right there. And if we go look at that's not what I was supposed to do. It's Storm Prediction Center. You'll see that there is an enhanced risk for severe weather. Mainly, it looks like into Louisiana, Arkansas, going into part of Alabama, and then into western Tennessee and Kentucky. So that's where we have the severe weather today, and we don't have any tornado reports right now, but there are some tornado warnings that are going on in place right now. And if you look at the weather map here, boy, I'm glad I got the water with me. Allergies. So you can see that there is a tornado watch in effect for this area here, and you do have a couple of tornado warnings right now that are taking place. So a tornado warning in effect for Western Lafayette, as well as tornado wind advisory in this area as well. You can see wind advisory, and then you can see over here we've got red flag warnings in effect West Texas into New Mexico, Southeast Colorado. Winter storm warnings. What else is new in parts of the into Montana, and yeah. So let's take a look and see what we got going on as far as our area is concerned. You can see we have a coastal flood advisory in effect for 10 p.m. Saturday till 4 a.m. Sunday. Let's take a look and see what our observations are right now, and you'll see it's 43. It's much nicer and more comfortable than it was last night. Last night was very muggy. It actually made me feel sick. So let's see. So we got 43 right now. Looks like we had a sea breeze with northwest wind. That got us up into the mid-50s, so we're above normal at Islip. You can see that mid-50s with a northwest wind there. There was a sea breeze on the south shore. It made its way up, I guess, to Islip for a little bit and dropped the temperatures down. And now the winds have kind of come back around again to the north a little bit. So it was interesting how that sea breeze did develop today. So let's see what our highs were across the area. And you can see 34 at West Hampton. So it looks like it's starting to radiate away a little bit over there. So let's take a look and see what our highs were for the day. And yeah, mid-50s, actually mid-upper 50s. It's close to right low 60s in New Jersey, of course, the hot spot, right around 60 degrees. Long Island, mid to even upper 50s, depending on where you were. So mostly mid-50s, upper 50s in the city, Hudson Valley, mid-50s. So yeah, those were our highs for today. And so let's go and look at some of the other weather sites that we have. I want to go look at Wonder Map as well, so we can take a look at that sea breeze there, because it was kind of interesting to see. And I was walking in Babylon. When I got there was a sea breeze, and then I walked. There was a sea breeze in this spot here, but then when I walked up to Southard's Lake, no sea breeze. So it was kind of interesting, just that little bit of difference there. So it was just along the south shore that we had that sea breeze. So let's look at Babylon right now. Let's see Southard's Lake, which is right over here, by the way. So let's look at this station here. Just show you what the sea breeze was up to today. You can sort of see that sea breeze right there. It looks like it, yeah, right around 3-4 o'clock it kicked in, right around there. So 3-4 o'clock it kicked in, right around there. But just on the south shore You can see that bump up in the humidity when it came through. The dew points were lower, and then they went up after that sea breeze came through. If you look at somewhere further north, like Mineola, you're not going to see that. We'll look at Mineola here, and you'll see that probably not going to see that effect. 45 right now, so 57. Then you can see, yeah, they did not have that effect at all. In fact, no sea breeze at all in Mineola at all today. None, zero. So it just felt along the south shore. Very limited effect. You had to be on the south shore to get it. Again, we can look at Belmore, and you can see Belmore got the sea breeze there, and it was much cooler as a result of that. You can see here that 57 was set last night, so they didn't even get that warm today. The highs were probably actually as of the middle of the night, actually, in a lot of spots, I realize. But we still managed to make it to the mid-50s, but if you were on the South Shore, it was only low 50s, and there was a sea breeze. You could see much cooler down there, much better. When you compare it to the up north, it's a totally different scenario there. We can look at one more spot here. Let's go to this area here, North Forest City. We'll look at Forest City, North Wanta. So let's see. Yeah, they got up there. They got up close to 60. Let's see if they got the sea. They did actually get a sea breeze. It looks like they did get one, though, because the temperature did drop after 5 o'clock. So they did get one over there. I could go through many of these stations. But you can see it was a sea breeze, but mainly just along the South Shore. Never really made it further north. It touched islip, and that's as far as it got. Probably made it up to, like, where the Southern State is, and that's about it. Anyway, let's go look at the radar and take a look at the severe weather. It says the life-threatening situation was underway in Mississippi night and amid a tornado emergency. So they had to issue a tornado emergency in Mississippi. Look at all of this. Wow. So this is all the rain here that's south, going on from Indiana south. This is the front right here, and you can see just lots and lots of activity here through Mississippi here. And there was a tornado warning, tornado emergency issued as well as a result of that. So this is the system that's going to be heading toward us in a much weaker form, fortunately, but this is pretty bad. So it says a nighttime tornado touches down in Mississippi. So a tornado emergency was issued for Rolling Fork for a large destructive tornado. This was a tornado emergency now. That's when you know we have a very bad tornado here. This is pretty bad. People are trapped. This is a really bad situation here. That happened just really bad tonight. So really a bad situation here. Tornado emergency issued. Mississippi devastated by a tornado. It seems to be, and I brought this up in the last weather update or the update before, that it seems like the tornado alley has moved southeastward and is now the south, Dixie Alley, they call it, that is becoming the hot spot for all these tornadoes now. Not so much the traditional areas like Kansas and Oklahoma. So let's look at the amount of lightning these storms are producing, and I'm sure, yeah, there's lots and lots of lightning. Memphis, this whole area is just getting Tennessee into northern Mississippi here, just getting pummeled by lots and lots of lightning here. There's some pretty severe thunderstorms here. And it's all because we have very warm air. You can see thunderstorms going all the way up into Indiana, almost. So let's go back to the weather and well, actually, you know what? I'd rather use Vent2Sky because I think it'll visualize things better. So the issue here and what's causing all this, you see all this warm, humid air that's made its way up into the south, and this is why you have temperatures in the mid-70s. It's only March, and we have air temperatures in the mid-70s, and if we look at the dew points here, so I'm sure they're going to be pretty high too. Yeah, dew points into the 60s, almost 70-degree dew points here. This is real tropical air, and again, not supposed to see this in March, but this is what we have going on. So you have this cold front here, this storm system, and it's causing all this severe weather going on. And as we go into tomorrow, the severe weather risk will let me move this over here. The severe weather risk will be continuing tomorrow, I think, as well, right? Let's see, convective outlook. They actually have some marginal risks closer to us western Pennsylvania, for instance. So we'll have to keep an eye on this for thunderstorms tomorrow, because there is going to be the chance of a thunderstorm tomorrow. All of this. So pretty crazy stuff going on. We can look at the power outage situation and see if there are. Yeah, it looks like there are a lot of outages in Tennessee due to these storms, which doesn't surprise me at all. There was an aurora last night too. That's the other thing that happened last night. We couldn't see it because of clouds, but also because it was mainly further north. But there were reports of a pretty impressive aurora that occurred. If we go to the one of the weather offices, I think in Buffalo, they put this up, and you can see high wind warnings also in effect for the Buffalo area. But if you look at their weather service here, you can see here's a view of that aurora from space. So this is what the aurora looked like from space. You can take a look at that, and you can see well north of the border, but you could see it from the northern states, and perhaps if it was clear enough here, we might have been able to see something from it. I was looking at certain cameras. We did have some clouds around last night, but we had partly cloudy conditions where if it was a little further south, we could have been able to see it. It was more intense, I think, a little further west, like you go into the Dakotas there. You could see, there was a pretty big geomagnetic storm last night. I wanted to bring that up as well. So let me go to the climate before I go on to the forecast part of this weather update. Let's go to the climate. Climate for Islip for the day. So you can see the high at Islip was 57, but it was a midnight high. Again, the rest of the day was mainly in the low to mid 50s. But you can see 12, that high was hit. And the normal high is 50. So 7 degrees above normal there. The low was 42. That's 8 degrees above normal. So we're about 8 degrees above normal for the day at Islip. Tomorrow will be much, much cooler for sure. So let's now look at the forecast part of this. And you can see here's our storm system here. We're looking at the GFS. And you'll see here the storm system is going to make a move toward the Great Lakes. There's that high that gave us today's dry weather. That kind of moves east. But the warm front stays to our south. So it's going to inhibit the instability that we could wind up getting. But you can see how the low kind of, as it runs into drier air, you can see how the low kind of loses some of its energy and some of its moisture for tomorrow. So it's not going to be the soaker that I think we originally had, but there's going to be definitely rain likely for much of the day. And then this low pulls away, and then as we get towards Sunday, we will have no cold air behind this storm. It will actually be quite mild on Sunday, but it should be sunny. So that's the good news. Just looking at next week briefly. You'll see most of the week should be dry. We have one storm system now. Oh, it looks like it's bringing that storm system back now. This is the storm system that would develop offshore around the middle of what? Look at how intense that thing is. That's really deep. Might want to look at that a little bit more toward the end of this update here. But after that, fair weather, and then more fair weather. It's funny how this keeps going back and forth. There's such volatility because when I looked at the 12Z run, this was the 12Z run. It looks completely different than the 18Z run. This is 18Z. This is the 12Z. The 12Z probably doesn't even have that storm there. Nope, doesn't even have it. So this is the kind of volatility that we're dealing with here, all right? If that storm were to form, we could get a nice little cold, maybe a little bit of cold air behind that storm, perhaps. But that storm looks pretty wrapped up, I might say. Let's just look at this thing hypothetically here, and let's see what. Go to temperature anomaly, and you can see nothing really, no crazy temperature anomalies, but the wind around that must be. Yeah, look at that. Whether this will actually happen or not is another story entirely. I'm wondering if the European has brought it back as well. Let's see if the European has brought it back. I'd have to go to the 12Z European run, but let's just see. Does have a low there. It does have a low there. It does have a low. So it looks like they brought it back, the storm, perhaps. So we'll have to see. We'll have a much better idea towards Sunday what's going to happen with that. But if that were to happen, then we could have a little bit of cold air maybe behind that storm, perhaps. Doesn't show anything that amazing. Anyway, let's go back to the GFS here. We're kind of just focused on the weekend, actually. So let me go to the HRRR and look at the 0Z run, which we actually have most of now. So let's do that. and look at what's going to happen with our precipitation. Dry until we get toward the morning, and then we'll start seeing after sunrise some showers. You can see nothing really heavy, just some light showers, and this is all the HRRR has. It's just light rain now. It's real dialed back on the rain. There could still be a chance of thunderstorms, especially in the evening with that second part of the system coming through right there. That could be another line of showers, maybe even a thunderstorm. Probably nothing severe, but and then our low moves away, and then we have much better weather for Sunday, although very mild. So let's look at our dew points and wind flow. The winds become east tonight. You can see we stay east, and then the HRRR keeps that. Look at that. You can clearly see that front ain't going anywhere. This is the warm front right here. So as long as we stay in the cool air, we'll draw that warm front out for you here. This is the warm front right over here. As long as it stays right there. If you're in Jersey, like Tom's River, you could get muggy, but I don't think we will. But south of that warm front, you could definitely get muggy, and that's where there could be the chance, perhaps, of some thunderstorms. And then as we get into Sunday, you see the westerly winds, gusty west to almost west-southwest winds take over for Sunday, which is going to bring a very mild day, but plenty of sunshine. So looking at our actual air temperatures because of that, you'll see here, look at how warm it gets to the south, but we're going to stay, tomorrow's going to be below normal, and it's going to feel kind of raw out there. Temperatures only in the low 40s. Now, if you're in New Jersey south of 195, you're going to be dealing with 50s, perhaps near 60, and it's going to be a little muggy, especially toward the evening. And then as we get into Sunday, you're going to start off only in the low. You're going to start off in the low 40s, but then it's going to warm up pretty nicely with temperatures 55 to 60. Maybe a little cooler on the Forks. But other than that, it should be mostly sunny as well. We'll look at the cloud models for that. Let's look at the total accumulated precip, and you can see it's not really showing much of anything now. So not a whole lot of rain being shown by the HRRR model. Definitely has toned down a lot on the amount of precipitation. However, there are more models to look at. So let's go ahead and look at the NAM3. And I don't have to use the 18Z run for that. And NAM3 also being a little drier. Not as dry, but of course this is the 18Z run. So you can see here, NAM is definitely a little more extensive with the precipitation. This may very well be overdone at this point because this is an old model 18Z. HRRR is a more recent model to use. FV3, we have 18 hours of the FV3, which is not a lot, but it's showing a steadier rain. So we have once again a disagreement in the models. The FV3 is saying more of a steadier rain for tomorrow, but again, that's as far as we got on the FV3, which is a higher resolution model of the GFS. Let me see if we have the NAM12. 19 hours in of the NAM12. Okay, so let's look at this. The NAM definitely looks like it's backed off a little bit as well. So, yeah, it'll be wet tomorrow, but it's not going to be a soaker. I mean, it's going to be rain on and off, but it won't be a soaker. So at least we won't have to deal with a soaker tomorrow. It will be a little bit breezy with the easterly winds there. No wind advisor or anything like that, but it will be breezy. It's just going to make it feel pretty raw out there. It's not going to be nice to walk around tomorrow. And when it's not raining, you'll probably have a little bit of drizzle around and stuff. So let's go to the RGM next, and we'll look at the skies. Obviously, tomorrow we have no sun, but as we get towards Sunday, it should be mostly sunny, and you'll see no clouds at all for Sunday at all. And then as we go into Monday, we'll probably have to deal with some more mid and high-level clouds. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Again, going to be damp tomorrow, and yeah, let me just look at one more thing, the thunderstorm risk. I don't think we're going to see that much. I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing right now because, again, as long as that warm front stays to the south, we won't have to deal with any thunderstorms. But let's just take one last look at this thunderstorm risk for tomorrow here and see. There is some CAPE. Here we are at it's just showing 11 o'clock. A little bit of CAPE over southern New Jersey there. But that's pretty much where it stays. You can see that's where it is right there. So it's mainly staying over there. That's the CAPE right there that we're seeing. All right. So it's not really that impressive. Let's go look at the lifted index here. Yeah, it's mostly off to the south because that's where the warmer air is. And we're kind of in a stable area. You can see the arrows here, the easterly wind, keeping Long Island cooler and more stable versus in New Jersey where it's going to be warmer for sure, dealing with those thunderstorm threats. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a much warmer place over there. let me just back to tropical tidbits. I just want to look at one more thing here. Let's see. We got a few. We don't really have a whole lot in, and I just want to look at the FGen. See, now the NAM is showing a very impressive area of FGen. Look at that dark red. That's a lot of lift in the atmosphere. That's why the NAM is saying we could get some more of that rain, but it might wind up being earlier. I'd have to go use the 18Z run if I want to go further. You can see, though, that moves to the north as we get toward the evening. So when would be the heaviest rain likely be? I would say early afternoon with it looking like this. But again, the HRRR is saying no, we're not going to have that at all. HRRR doesn't do the FGen though. All right. So we have different opinion here because you have to factor in one thing with the rain, and that's you have this warm air mass that's going to be advected over the cool air mass at the surface that could bring a lot of rain. So models kind of all over the place with this. For whatever reason, the HRRR is saying it's backing off, but if you look at the FV3, it's a lot more. And again, we have 22 hours of the FV3 or the high resolution GFS in. And again, let me look at the FGen with this and see what this looks like here. It's as far as it goes. Darn it. All right. If I look at the regular GFS, we can look at the regular GFS from 18Z. You can see that that lift there that we're going to have. So then when you see something like that, that would indicate heavy rain. But for some reason, the model is not producing it at the surface. So even though the HRRR is backed off on things, I'm not going to say the potential for a soaker is completely out the window. When I'm looking at something like this, we could still deal with some heavy rain at some point during the day tomorrow. I'm not going to say that we're not going to deal with it. It looks like, though, it would be more in the, again, that early afternoon time frame with that big lift there like that. And that would probably correlate to, we change it to this, it's not really that heavy. So let's see what the GFS is putting down as total rainfall. This is like a lower Q. Yeah, see, the GFS is much heavier. It's more like a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. So we can look at the NAM here. Again, we don't have enough of that in. So, yeah, we have a model disagreement, basically, but the NAM is definitely much heavier with the rainfall. So, soaker or not? That is the question for tomorrow. We will know by tomorrow what's going to happen. I'm hoping it's not a soaker, but I don't want to write it off just yet. After seeing this again, even though I saw the HRRRs get my hopes up, these other models, I don't know. I don't really want a soaker, but we could have. Obviously, the ingredients for a soaker are there when you look at the FGen and the stall front off to the south and the warm air that's going to be pushed out over it. They could bring the potential for heavy rain. So we'll know, but just be prepared for a wet day tomorrow. It's going to suck, but after that, hopefully we won't have to deal with another wet day for a while. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Have a good night.